the first thing we're going to talk about is how do I access my system remotely? Well, the correct answer for that would be live.laundrycard.com. You want to make sure that when you access your store, you're going to this site. Now let's talk about some of the features of live.laundrycard.com. It's available to both you and your customers. It can be accessed from any device with an internet browser, and your customers can access the page and check their account balance without having to come into the store. If you do need sign-in credentials or you haven't signed into your site yet, you're going to want to do that by contacting CCI support at support@laundrycard.com, and then they can get you some login information. So let's talk about the main sign-in page. The main sign-in page for live.laundrycard.com is going to look like this for your customers. Now, your customers can come to this site. They can put in their card number and they can get the card information. So what they would do is they would go to the live.laundrycard.com, and they can do this directly through any browser, but also if you want to link this to your main web page, if you have a web page for your store, you can do so. So what they're going to do is they're going to go to this site, they're going to type in their card number, and they're going to hit check balance, and it's going to show them the balance of their card. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to show, we're going to go through logging into your site as well. So to log in, you're going to be getting your credentials, and you're going to put your credentials into the site. Now, once you sign into the site, if you have multiple stores, it's going to show you a list of all the stores that you have available to log into. If you have a single store, it's going to bring you directly to the main landing page. When you get to the main landing page, it's going to show you at the top the store that you're connected to currently. And what you're going to want to do is click on the Manage button at the bottom of the screen. Once you get into that, it's going to bring you to your manager screen. So with that, let's start talking about some of the features of LaundryCard. And there we go. Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is going to be card management. Card management is where you're going to be spending the majority of your time on your system, and it's related to dealing with any of the cards in the system, whether it be customer or attendant. So the first question I get is, how do I dispense cards for employees? Why would you want to do that? Well, if you have attendants and they have their own individual cards, and let's say an attendant comes in and they forgot their card at home, or they don't have their card, or they lost their card, you can dispense their card. So how do we do that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the main menu here. We're going to go to cards, and we're going to go to dispense. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a value for this card in there, and then you're going to just click the card that you want to dispense. You'll note that on here you can dispense multiple types of cards, customer card, attendant card, and so on. Each card, depending on which one you dispense, has specific parameters that are applied to it. But in this case, we're going to be dispensing an attendant card, so you'll dispense an attendant card. Now, this can be done remotely, or it can be done in the store at the exchanger. One important note here is whichever computer or whichever exchanger you're connected to will show up at the top here, and that's the that's the exchanger that the card is going to come out of. So in this case, exchanger A, which is generally the one on the left, is going to dispense whatever card you tell it to here. So you want to make sure your attendants are standing in front of it. Okay, so the next question that I get is, how do I search for a customer's card? Why would you want to do that? If you have a customer that comes in and you want to add some money to their card, you want to change some settings, or you want to check some parameters on their card, this is how you're going to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the main card screen here, and we're going to go to the search function. Now in here, you're going to have a couple of options for searching for customer cards. You're going to be able to search by card number. You're going to be able to search by their name, their phone number, or any kind of comments that you've applied to the card. In this case, we're going to search by number. So the way you're going to do it is you're going to put that customer's card number in. And one thing you're going to want to do is make sure that if you're searching for a customer card, that you check the box right here that says show customer cards. So now that we've checked that box, we're going to go in there and hit search. And there's our card. Okay, so now once that you've got your card that you want to look at, you're going to click on the blue number here, and you're going to get to the details screen for this card. Now there's several options here that you can apply to a customer's card. If the card's lost, or if you want to invalidate the card or turn the card off, you have a status option here to invalidate that card. If you want to give the customer any kind of a discount, you can apply a discount directly to the card here. You can adjust your balances, bonus points, all that type of stuff can be done right here. We have two boxes here. We have a comments box. The comments box is where you're going to put a comment for the customer's card specifically. So if a customer comes in and they're upset with the employees, or they complain about something, or they broke one of your machines or did something, you want to put a comment on here so you know that this is the customer that did that, or you can refer back to it. The other option is the special message, and the special message is an option that you can put in here. So as an example, if you want to add money to a customer's card for being a great customer, you could add $5 to the card and then put in the special message, "Thank you for being a great customer," and this message will appear with the customer when they put it in the exchanger. Now down at the bottom here, we do have the activity log for your customer. So it's going to show the last 5 transactions that appeared on the customer's card. If you want to view the entire transaction history of a customer card, you can click View Card Activity, and then you can set a specific date range of when you want to look at when that customer used that card. So as an example, if I were to change this date to the 1st of December and hit refresh, now it's going to show all of the transactions that happened. One thing that is new with version 9 and with any exchanger or system that's been shipped within the last couple of years is your exchangers have cameras on them now. So what will happen is the exchanger will take a picture of the customer or take a picture of the area when a cash transaction or a credit card transaction is done. Now you'll notice that on the previous page here, you can see the picture. This picture is the first picture that was ever taken on the exchanger for that customer. Okay, but if you want to look at other pictures for that customer, you can do so also. We can go back into the activity, and you'll notice that anytime value was added, there's a little plus sign here. If we click on that plus sign, it's going to show you the picture of that person. So you know. Why was this important? Well, if you have a customer that came in and said they didn't use their credit card, or they didn't do something on the exchanger that you see that they obviously did, you have a picture of that person. Okay, so let's go back here. The next question that was asked is, next question that's usually asked is, how do I recover a customer's card? Well, in this case, version 9 has a function called recover card. Okay, and when they do a card recovery, if a customer comes in and says they lost their card or they forgot their card at home, what you can do is you can ask them certain parameters, provided that they registered their card, and you'll be able to retrieve that card for the customer. So a customer comes in, she says her name is Karina. So we're going to put in Karina here, and we're going to hit search. And we've got a couple of cards here, but you'll notice that there's no address, phone, or email or anything like that. So in this situation, you want to get a little bit more information, because we don't want to just recover this card, because that could be any Karina Miller or Muller that's in there. So now we'll ask her, what's your address? She'll say something like 123 My Street. Okay, so we're going to just put my. So now we can see it still has not come up. So we need to drill down a little bit deeper to find this card. So now we're going to say, when was the last time that you used that card? And she'll say, it's probably around the beginning of December was the last time I used it. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the date on here to adjust the search function. So now we're going to hit search again, and there it is. So now you can see Karina Muller, 123 My Street, and her email address. So now you can confirm more options with her to make sure you have the right card. Once you do that, you can hit the recover button, and the exchanger will dispense that card out. It will take any of the information that is on this card number right here, whether it be money, points, or anything like that, and transfer it onto that new card and dispense it. And then what it will do is it will invalidate the old card so that she can't come in or she can't go home, find the card, come in, and then try and use the card. Okay. One important note here is that your attendants and you can do this. So the attendants can do this without your intervention. Makes it a little bit easier so they're not constantly contacting you to dispense customer cards. Okay. So the next question I get is, how do I combine multiple customer cards? We have a function called merge cards, and why would you want to do this? Well, if you have a customer that comes in, they purchased multiple cards, or they purchased a card, they came back, they purchased another card, and so on. What you're going to want to do is be able to combine all of those cards into one card so they don't have so many cards. Okay, so to do this function, we're going to go back to the cards menu, and we're going to go to the merge function. And the system will show you how to do this. And essentially, you'll take your card out, you'll put the customer's first card in, and what it will do is it will show the funds that are on that card, or any points or anything that are on that card. It'll tell you to remove that card, put the next card in, and the next card that you put in, it's going to pull all that information and put it on that card. Now, what if you have a customer with multiple cards, 4 or 5 cards? Well, you're going to repeat this process until the last card has all of the value on it from those previous cards. Okay. Now, your employees can do this as well, and there is a report to show when they do this. Okay. So we're going to move on here, and the next question is going to be, how do I activate my cards that I just received? When you place an order with CCI or with your distributor for cards, you'll receive the batch of cards and the shipment of cards to your store. You want to make sure that you activate these cards in your store so that they can be used on your exchangers. And the way you're going to do that is when you receive that box of cards, there's going to be one box that will have a fluorescent sticker on it that will say activation card enclosed. You're going to go ahead and open up that box and search for that card. It's generally in a plastic baggie, or it's going to be in an envelope that says open me first. What you'll do is you'll go to the exchanger, and this does have to be done in the store. So you'll go to the exchanger and you'll click on the activate button in the cards menu here. You'll pull your card out, put the activation card in, and what this does is this activates all the cards in your system. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here, which is system maintenance. Why do you want to do system maintenance on your exchangers? Well, you want to make sure that your exchangers are running properly, make sure everything is working. And this is some of the ways to keep your exchangers running properly. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, how do I know if my LaundryCard system is running efficiently? And the answer to that is the red line indicators at the top of the screen. So on your exchanger, when you see the red line appear at the top of the screen there, it's kind of like the check engine light for your system. The system is designed to give you years of trouble-free service, but sometimes things happen and you need to know when they do. The red line error isn't always bad. Sometimes it's just to alert you to some maintenance items, or something as innocuous as an empty bill acceptor, or I'm sorry, a full bill acceptor, or a credit card that was declined. Okay, so in order to view these red line options, once this happens, you're going to either insert your card into the exchanger, or you're going to be doing this remotely. So the way that you're going to do this is we're going to go back, and on the main screen of your user interface here, you're going to have a red box that will appear on the screen that you can click. However, if the red box is not there, you can also go to the maintenance tab here. And under the maintenance tab, there's a box that says system error messages. Now, under normal circumstances, when you have system error messages on here, the error messages will tell you exactly what's going on with your system. Okay, so if it's it just depends. Now, if it's something that you're not sure of what to do with, that's when you're going to want to contact CCI support. Okay. So now what we're going to talk about is specific maintenance, which is we're going to talk about do I need to restart my exchangers regularly, and how often should I do this? And the answer to that is yes. You do want to restart your exchangers on a regular basis. These are Windows-based machines. They after a certain amount of time, they may have some slowdown a little bit. So you want to make sure that you're rebooting your exchangers frequently, or every 2 months, so that they are running in top form. Okay, so we're going to go through on how to restart your exchangers. Okay, so to restart your exchangers, you're going to go to your maintenance menu, and there's a button here for Restart System. We're going to click on that button. Now, you'll notice at the top of the screen here that it's saying this system is Exchanger A primary. So you don't want to restart your primary first. You want to always restart the backup unit first. So in this case, Exchanger B is the backup. Now, this can be done from either exchanger. It does not have to be done on the exchanger itself. So the sequence of events that's going to happen here is we're going to go ahead and click Restart Exchanger B. You're going to wait for it to restart. This will automatically send the signal to do so. You'll wait for it to restart. When it's back up to the main screen, you're going to go back in here and you're going to select Restart Exchanger A. And that's going to go ahead and reboot that computer as well. Now, important note about restarting your computers, you want to make sure that you're doing it outside of business hours when possible, and you don't want to do it during busy hours or on the weekend to avoid any kind of issues that may occur. So it's very important that you make sure that you restart your exchangers every 2 months, and you want to make sure you schedule that accordingly. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is my exchanger isn't responding. How do I solve this? Well, what do we mean by not responding? Essentially, it is if a touchscreen is not working, or if you have Ingenico card readers for your credit cards, if the credit card reader is not reading credit cards or not responding properly, we can do what's called a screen reset. Now, what is a screen reset? It is a function of restarting the software itself without taking down the store or restarting the computer. And essentially what it will do is it will reset the software, bring it down, bring it back up. It will also resend the configuration information to the Ingenico credit card bezel to reset it. So in this case, another one that you can do remotely, you can also do this on the exchanger or on either exchanger. So as an example, if exchanger B is frozen or having issues and you can't get to this screen on exchanger B, you can go on exchanger A and hit reset exchanger B, and it will reset that screen. Okay, so now the next question we're going to talk about is my bill acceptor is jammed. How do I address this? Well, if your attendant notices that your bill acceptor is not working or not working properly, they don't usually have access to the inside of your exchangers. So in that case, we want to give them some options to be able to try and alleviate the problem as quickly as possible without having to call you. So the way they're going to do that is they're going to go back to their screen, the maintenance screen here, and they're going to go to the bill acceptor power cycle button. Now, what this does is it turns off the bill acceptor, turns it back on, and the bill acceptor will go through a configuration pre-startup where it will run the motors and it will cause the motors to spit out whatever's inside the bill acceptor. This is your attendant's first line of defense when they are trying to clear a jam and get a exchanger working. However, if it's a more severe jam or something like that where it requires them to open the exchanger, they will have to contact you or contact CCI support. But this is basically their first line of defense. Okay. The last one we want to talk about here in the system maintenance is how do I check the status of my machines in my store? So in your system, all of your machines are set up and visible to you through the equipment status button right here. So why is this important? Well, you want to be able to see what's going on in your store, which machines are running, and any issues that may be happening with your machines. So on this screen, you'll notice that all of the machines are gray. Gray means that the machines are idle. So who's going to use this screen? Well, your attendants and your technicians or anybody that's repairing your machines can use this screen. And the way they're going to do this will say, let's say machine number 6 here is leaking water, and they want to let you know that it's leaking water. So what they're going to do is they're going to click on that machine, and they're going to choose what's happening with the machine. So in this case, disabled leaking water. So what this will do is this turns off the reader so that customers can't start this machine, but it also changes the block to red so that when you sign into your system from wherever you are, if you're not in the store and you go to equipment status, you can see machine number 6 is out of order. And what you can do is you can click on that and it will tell you that they disabled it because it's leaking water. Now, why is this important? Well, if you have a technician that comes in and repairs your machines regularly, you have a way to tell them now, hey, when you're coming in, machine number 6 is leaking water. Maybe you can take a look at that. So now when the technician comes in and does the repair, they can come in here to machine number 6 and hit machine OK. And what that will do is that will give them some canned responses on what they did. So in this case, let's say they replaced the drain valve on the machine. So it will put the machine back into service, but also it will report to you that they repaired that machine and what they did. So really quick, let's talk about some of the other features of equipment status. One of the other things that it does is it shows you which machine is what. So as an example, machine number 6 here is a 20-pound machine. It'll show you the model number and the serial number if you've entered it in the information. And also, the more important option is it shows you the last person that used that machine. So why is that important? Well, in a situation where a customer ruined a machine or did something to a machine, you want to be able to find out who did that last or who last used it. It will show you the card number. If they've registered, it will show you their name, their address, their phone number. So you have a little bit of follow-up that you can do on that. Okay, so let's go back here. And now we're going to talk about the actual equipment maintenance. Do my exchangers require and readers require maintenance? Yes, like any machine. LaundryCard hardware does require periodic maintenance to keep the system running at peak performance. This includes the exchangers and the readers. We do have some functions or some websites and some resources for you to look at so that you can make sure that you're keeping your exchangers running perfectly. One of them is our documentation library, which is our Confluence documents. We have this specific link here. And one thing to remember here is any links that you're seeing on these slides that we're showing here today, you're going to receive an email that will have all of these links in here so you can access them quickly. But beyond that, let's talk about this document. So the document itself has information on exchanger preventative maintenance. This is a very good document because it shows you the tools that you're going to need for this procedure, but also more importantly, it shows you the frequency in which you should be doing this, cleaning the monitor, cleaning the computers, and it will show you all the tools that you need to access this information and clean your exchangers and get the maintenance done. Now, another option that we have is we do have our YouTube channel. So we're constantly adding videos to our YouTube channel, and we're adding more maintenance videos so that you can refer to these and see it actually done in person. So our YouTube channel is going to be, if you go to YouTube, you'll type in Card Concepts and it will bring you to our page. And we have specific playlists on our pages for maintenance. We have it for installation, that type of thing. So I highly recommend if you have employees or yourself or if you're a distributor on here today and you want your installers to see some videos on how to install on certain machines, we have them linked here as well. Okay, so now what we're going to talk about is we are going to talk about employee management. Which more importantly, we're going to be talking about how do you keep your store running efficiently. Okay, so one of the options we have, one of the great options we have for the LaundryCard system is we have scheduled tasks. These are tasks for your employees and for your attendants to basically keep them busy, but also to make sure that things are done around the store to keep the store clean, running well, and keep your customers coming back because the store looks better for it. So what are scheduled tasks? Well, let's go back to our schedule, our main menu here. And now we're going to go to scheduling. So in here, we have a button called Scheduled Task Setup. The Scheduled Task Setup is where you're going to set up the tasks for your employees. And you can do as many as you like. Some of the options would be like sweep floor, we have mop the floor, clean the bathroom. Now you can set the frequency of when it happens, every 6 hours, every hour of the day, how many times during the day, what day of the week, that type of thing. And then also when you want that to happen. So what will happen is as you create these reoccurring tasks, your attendants will come into their system and they need to be able to find these. Okay, so you've set up the tasks. We come back in here and your attendants are going to put their card in and they're going to go to pending tasks under scheduling. Once they're in here, they're going to see the tasks that you have assigned to them. Okay, when you assign a task and the attendant sees it, they're going to see, okay, I need to sweep the floor. So they're going to sweep the floor. They're going to come back in. They're going to hit the complete button, and it's going to send you a report based on the task and what they did there. Okay, so if we go back to scheduled task setup, there are options as well as a one-time task. What's the one-time task? Well, that is the task that you want them to do one time, like come see me for a paycheck, or if Mr. Johnson comes in, make sure he gets this, you know, that type of thing. That's what a one-time task would be for. It will still apply to that. Now, quick thing here, how do your attendants know that this is happening? Okay, at the top of the screen, next to where the red bar would appear, there will be a blue bar that will appear. So you want to get your attendants and your employees in the habit of looking at the screen when they walk by the exchanger. If they see a blue bar at the top of the screen, that means they need to put their card in and they need to go and see what task is required of them. And this is a great way to keep your store clean, efficient, and also it keeps your attendants busy and keeping them from being idle. Okay, so the next question is, we do offer clock in and clock out functionality with the exchange, or with the LaundryCard software, so your attendants can use the system as a time card function. One important note with that is if you do have them clocking in and clocking out and they have their own attendant cards, they cannot use the system unless they are clocked in. Okay, it's a great way to keep attendants from using the system when they're not supposed to be. So if they're off and they come in, their card will not work unless they clock in. Okay, so on that same vein, your attendant forgot to punch out when they left, and how are you going to fix that? Well, basically what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the scheduling page. We're going to go to the hours editor button here. And what this will do is this shows you all of the punches that your attendants have created while they are in the store. Okay, so in this situation, we're going to go to Albertina here, and we're going to put we're going to put last week. And it's going to show all of her punches. Now, if you're in here and you notice that she didn't punch out for one day or something like that, you're going to want her to punch out when she comes in on her next shift and then punch back in again so that it creates that punch. Once it creates that punch, we can come over here to edit and we can change the date and time on there to get that. Now, why is this important? Well, you want to make sure that your attendants are getting the hours that they're working and making sure that their punches are correct. Okay. One of the other features we have with the LaundryCard system is we do have a scheduler that's built into the system. So if we go back to our page here and we go to the work schedule. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, if you don't want to have a paper schedule or you don't want to handwrite one, or if you have attendants that are regulars, they work the same day each day, this is a great way for your attendants to see the schedule as well, to see when they're supposed to be working, so that you don't have to have that paper schedule, and you can write your schedule from anywhere. You don't have to be in the store to do so. So to do this, you'll click on a day that you want to add a attendant to your schedule, and you'll choose the name, and then you'll put the date and hit add, or the time, and then hit add. And what that will do is that will add it there. There are other options at the bottom here, such as copying the same schedule. If you have an attendant that's on the same schedule, you can copy it to all of the specific days or for the next 7 days. Okay. So now that we've talked about the the attendant administration, we're going to talk about the equipment administration. So what do we mean by equipment administration? Well, we're going to more specifically talk about how do we change the price on our machines, and why would you want to do that? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our main menu here, and we are going to go to System Setup, and we are going to go to Equipment Setup. On the equipment setup page here, you're going to notice all of your machines are going to be listed here by size or by type. So as an example, we have all of our washers, we have our dryers, our vending machines, and our doors. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with changing the price on a machine. So if we click on our first machine here, which is a 20-pound machine, you'll notice that we have default pricing here. So we have our normal hot, normal warm, normal cold. You can change the price on these machines by simply just changing the price. So if we want to change this to $3.69, we'll do that, and we'll click the save button. And what that will do is that will send the signal to the machine to tell it to change the price on the machine. We also have the adders and stuff like that that you can change the prices as well. I'm not going to change this price. We're going to go back here. So the next question I get a lot is, how do I do promotional pricing? And why would I want to do that? Well, if you one of the benefits of this system versus, say, a customer that has just quarters or takes only quarters is you can set promotional pricing, and the system will automatically change the price of the machine and during a specific time period, and then change it back. So how do we set that up? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the machine again, and right down here under scheduled pricing, we're going to set that scheduled pricing. Okay, so let's say on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., we want all of these machines to be $2, let's say. So we're going to set $2 on all of them. Now, one important note here is you'll notice that there's just as many boxes here that match the number of boxes up here. Okay, so you want to make sure that if you have a price up here, that you're putting a price down here. Now, in a situation where you want to only have the hot water be a specific price, you can leave all the others blank, and it will only change the price of the hot water. But in this situation, because we want the machines to be $2 for all cycles, we want to make sure that we fill out this information completely. Okay, so the next question that I get a lot is, what are the other available features for my machines? So let's talk about some of the features that you can do with your machines. So one of them is you can do free dries, and what this does is when a customer swipes a card, they're going to get this number of free dry awards. And how do those work? Well, customer starts their washer, they get to the dryer. When they swipe the card on the dryer, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to get them whatever their swipe is, that's the free dry. So as an example, if you have a machine that's 25 cents for 7 minutes, that first swipe is going to get them the 7 minutes. And if they have 3 free dry awards, if they swipe 3 times, they're going to get the 7 minutes per swipe. Okay. The same applies if you have your machine set up for a full cycle dry, like 30 minutes for $1.50. In that situation, one swipe is going to give them 30 minutes. Now, if you have a top off function where it's 30 minutes and then a top off is 5 minutes, that next free swipe is going to be that 5-minute top off. So it's whatever the swipe is going to give them at the time that they swipe their card. Okay. A couple of other options that are here. Start and stop hours. What are these? Well, these are for end of day type things or last wash settings. So as an example, if you're not a 24-hour store or your store closes at say 10 o'clock and you want to turn off the machines at 9:30 so that the customers can't sneak in and try and get that final wash in there, you can do this where you can actually change the time. If it's 9:30, you can change your time here so that the machines will turn off at 9:30 and then customers won't be able to start the machines. Okay. Now, why is this important? Well, in a situation, it's going to save you money in the long run because now when you have customers that come in, they're not going to try and sneak in here. They're not going to be able to start that machine, and then your attendants will be able to get out on time because now they're not waiting for a customer to finish that important load at the end of the day. Okay. The next option here is bonus allowed and discount allowed. Now, what are these? These are basically any kind of discounts or bonus money that your customers have on their cards. If you don't want them using that information or using those points or the discount on these machines, you can turn them off and on through here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to talk about charging a fee for your card. So why would you want to charge a deposit or a fee on your cards? Well, in a situation, if you've noticed that customers are burning through a lot of cards or your customers are coming in and buying a card, they're throwing it away, they're getting rid of it, or they're buying a new card every time they come in. If you notice that you're going through a lot of cards, customers don't have any value with the card at the time that they purchase it. They're just basically buy the card, they use it and they walk out. But we want to make sure that they have some value and they know that they can keep that card. So one way you can do that is by charging a fee or a deposit on the card. So to set up that function, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our main menu here. We're going to go to System Setup and we're going to go to General Info. Now, once we're in here, you're going to notice right here under Miscellaneous Settings is the new card deposit. So you can charge whatever you want on this card. And remember that this is marked as a new card deposit, which basically denotes that the customer may think that they're going to get a refund for this deposit. So what we have here is we also have the card deposit name. So the card deposit name is essentially what it does is it takes away the word deposit from the message that appears on the screen for the customer. So as an example, if you have a deposit set to $1, the customer comes up and they choose get new card, what they're going to do is they are going to see on the screen, they're going to say a $1 deposit is required for purchase. And if you want to make it change that, you can change it by adding anything in here. So you can type in fee here, and what that will do is now it will say a $1 fee will be charged. So great functionality, great way to keep your cards from running out and having to reorder cards on a frequent basis. Okay. So the final thing I'm going to talk about today is going to be how do I see how my laundromat is doing or how is it performing? And we're going to do that through the reports. So to get to your reporting, we're going to talk about how to get there, which is you're going to go to your main menu and you're going to go to the reports function. Now in here, we've actually changed this for the new version 9 software, where you actually will just choose the report that you want to see through a drop down. These are in alphabetical order. One of the more important ones that most people want to see is the totals report. So if we go into totals here and we hit view report, it's going to show you the totals for your store. Now the important thing here is it will show you the cash and the credit and all of the balance on here. You have your today, how much it's made to date, month to date, and year to date. A couple other things on this actual screen. One of them is your number of cards sold. So you can see how many cards are actually going through your system at any given time. So you can account for when you need to reorder cards and stuff like that. If we go back here, another one that we can look at is your sales by hour report. This is a great report for determining when you want to price your store and when you want to change your prices or do anything like an early bird special. So as an example, what we'll do is we'll put in a date, we'll say a month ago, and we'll refresh that report. And what this is going to do is it's going to show you when the customers come in and when you're most busy. So you can see customers don't really come in at 5 a.m. So what you might want to do is have an early bird special from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Bring the prices down on your machines. So this is a great way to tell your busy hours and also to price your machines accordingly to get your customers to come in on the off hours or on the slow hours to kind of balance out so that you can make sure that your customers have machines available when they do come in. One thing of note here is that the reports are, as you start viewing them, they will show your most recently viewed reports at the top here so that you can keep going back to them. Okay. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Steve, and he is going to be talking about store signage and the warranty information. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Steve.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Nice job. A couple of things to be looking at here is we want to make sure that you realize that we've talked a lot about some very specific tasks today. And you may have noticed a lot of fields, and certainly in browsing your own system, you've noticed a lot of things we didn't cover. So those are future training topics that we want to cover and provide for you later. But there are things that we do outside of just the system in itself that we also want to make sure that you are aware of, since we have your attention. The system is packed with tools and marketing tools to help you promote your business and hopefully attract new business and raise sales. That's really what our interest levels are, is to help you run the most effective business and profitable business you have. And so one of the things that we've noticed over the many years we've done this or have been providing LaundryCard is that a lot of store owners need a little help maybe with some signage to help promote some of these tools, these features that are available in the system. And we already know we'll be offering a marketing training program at some point in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. But if you have started to look at some of the things you can do to offer promotions, you want to look at how can you promote that to your customers. And the best way to probably do that is going to be through, or one of the ways is through store signage. And so we have gone ahead and created a number of signs that are available to you at no charge. The artwork is available to you at no charge that you should be able to download from our website and take a look and have those printed locally. You can have them modified with your logos. And I wanted to show everyone where that is available. So on our website, which is just LaundryCard.com, you will see that we have a resource section at the top, and there is a signage section that you can click on. And from here, it's going to ask you which product that you want to view the signage for. In this case, we'll choose LaundryCard. And then we can scroll down and we can view all of the various sign artwork that we have already put together for you. Some of them are promotionally based. Some of them are just some standard signage to help understand credit card fees. But there's a whole bunch of signage artwork generated and ready for you. And we're also interested in what kind of signage you think you need. And so if there is particular signs that you think would be valuable to you, we'd invite you to submit that as well. The other thing that someone asked while I've had the website up on here, and I saw in the chat, someone asked about how do we get version 9, because the whole presentation has been based on version 9, but it's very possible that many of you may not have version 9 yet. And the good news is that anybody who has a LaundryCard system can upgrade to version 9. And so there are some requirements, some base level hardware requirements that we can help you overcome in order to get to version 9. And the best way to do that is to get the ball rolling on that is to indicate that you want to upgrade. And so again, I'll redirect you to our website. And if we go to the LaundryCard page, you'll notice as we scroll down, there's a section here called Check Out the Latest Software Release. And when you click on that, it's going to give you just some details about what's new in version 9, and you may be on 7 or 8. And so you can get a little review of what's new in version 9. And if you want to go ahead and start the process of upgrading to that, you click on the Upgrade to version 9 button, which brings you to just a real simple form. And when you fill out this form, it's going to send that to our support team, who will then reach out to you and basically review the details of your system and make sure that you have everything you need to make that upgrade happen. So keep that in mind. If you have noticed that you are not on version 9 and you'd like to make that change, go ahead and request that, fill out this form on the website, and we'll help you get there. All right, Andrew, can you go ahead and take this, put the slide back on for talk about warranty a little bit? Actually, yeah, go ahead and do that. So we also want to, yeah, that's great. So it's also important while we have you is to make sure that you understand our warranty policies so that we can make it easy for you to get replacement parts. If your system is still under warranty, which is 2 years from your install date, we make the process of getting any failed components replaced very easily. You can do that directly with us. You can do it from with any one of our support technicians. When you talk to them, if they deemed that a piece of hardware is not performing as it should, they can walk you through what's called an advanced replacement option, where we would send you the replacement part, and then you'll send us back the failed part, and we make the process very simple. If by chance you are not under warranty, you've already extended that, you do need to purchase your replacement parts through one of our CCI distributors. Generally, everyone who has purchased a system must purchase that system through a CCI distributor, and so we would direct you back to them to purchase replacement parts. Our team will help you locate the part numbers needed and then direct you to your distributor to order those parts, and they can drop ship those direct to you. We do have a number of other policies, things that may be important for you to realize, and so again, there's a link on the screen here that we will share with you post presentation here that has a list of all of our warranty information available there. Okay, and I think that's it. I think we're going to move on to QA. So I think there's been some questions maybe come in. Rachel, maybe you can help us scope through that.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes. So all of this, again, will be available. We're going to send a follow-up email with a copy of the slide deck, some links to further step-by-step instructions, and also a recording of today's training. You already reviewed the question about upgrading to version 9. The next question is, can a transfer from Escrow to a customer card be done without the customer card present?
Okay, so if I understand correctly, the question is talking about Escrow, and so for the purposes of the group, to make sure everybody understands what Escrow is, so whenever a card is dispensed, so a customer trying to purchase a card or dispense a new card for themselves, the system is going to attempt to read the card number as the card leaves the machine. And because this is a machine, and it is possible, hopefully a rare possibility, but it's possible that the machine was unable to read that card on dispense. It could be as simple as the card was loaded in the stacker upside down, or maybe it was a previously dispensed card that was damaged. But for some reason, the card has been dispensed, but the system was unable to read that card on dispense. And so what that does is the system realizes that it accepted money. Let's say the customer put $10 in the machine, but it doesn't know what card to apply those funds to. That generates an escrow. So we know we took $10, but we don't have a card or a card number to apply that $10 to. And so when that happens, there are two ways that you can deal with that. There is an option that your attendant can deal with, and it's called, there's an assign from escrow feature. And Andrew, since you have control of it, maybe you can pull up the escrow screens and we can walk through that. Basically, your attendant, what will generally happen is that the customer is going to go to the attendant and say, hey, my card's not working. And the attendant can bring up the escrow feature. And so in this example,
or actually, we'll go back.
Yeah, go to the first one first. If you go to the assign from escrow feature, the attendant can see this if you've permissioned them to do so. And if there have been any instances where there's an escrow generated, they'll see that here. And they can ask the customer, what machine were you at? How much money did you raise? And if there's a matching amount here, they can actually click the record. And this, in our system here we're looking at, doesn't have any open escrows. And then they can actually have them insert that card that was dispensed, and it'll apply that kind of unclaimed amount to the card. Now, I think what was asked by the customer is, can you do that without the card being there? And so there is a way to do that, and if Andrew can back up, there's an option from the manager screen just called escrow, and this will actually bring up, again, this is generally done remotely, a list of any of the unclaimed escrows that are there. And so in this example, there happens to be one for $20. We can see that when the date and time of that transaction occurred. And then there's an edit function on there. And if Andrew clicks edit, now we can go in there and if we're talking to this customer over the phone, we can say, just give me the card number off the back of your card. And you'll key that in. And so without physically having the card in your hand, you can still assign the escrow to that card. So the answer is yes, and that's how you do it. Great. Hopefully that answers your question. What else do we have here, Rachel?
How long does the system retain the totals info? Is it indefinite?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the answer is no, it is not indefinite. So there is a self-cleaning mechanism inside the exchanger within the database where it tries to make sure that the database stays at a manageable size so that it performs well. And it's done by the number of transactions, not necessarily exclusively by time. So generally, the latest generation of our system, so this may be different based on how old your system is going to be at least 6 months of historical data or X number of transactions. And so maybe that's, I don't know the exact number, maybe 600,000 transaction or more. And so if for your store, based on your volume, if you can get 9 months of data inside 600,000 transactions, then you'll have 9 months of data. But there's a minimum time threshold that we keep. But that's not to say that there's not more, we don't keep a historical data beyond that, just the individual daily transactions. So every machine start, we start to delete that kind of specifics after that threshold is hit. But we do maintain a monthly sales report indefinitely. So if your store has been open 10 years, you can go back to any one of the months within those years, or Andrew's bringing it up, it's called a monthly report. And you can go back to really any specific month since you have had that store and generate a month-end report from that. So this store has been open since 2008, and we can go back and generate a month-end report all the way back to the first day it was opened. Okay, great. What else do we got?
We have version 9, but have not added EMV because they'd have to switch away from their credit card processor. They'd like to keep the processor because the prices are best.
Mm-hmm.
What are their options there?
Awesome. So the good news is we have recently launched a brand new EMV option. So when we first added EMV, and real quickly, for those who don't know what EMV is, that's the ability to accept the chip-based credit card. So obviously all credit cards have a mag stripe. And historically, our systems have always had a magstripe-based credit card option. As the chips have become more prevalent on users' credit cards, we've added an EMV option, but our first EMV rollout required you to use a very specific merchant processor. And we understand that that may not be optimal for every store owner. So we have just recently, this is very recent, have developed a brand new EMV option that will allow you to select your processor. There are some limitations there because there has to be compatibility between our software and that processor, but it is no longer a locked merchant processor situation. And so the best thing to do is maybe reach out to our support team and they can direct you to the documentation that kind of describes like what platforms are supported. It supports most of the major platforms that are out there. And so whoever your merchant services provider is generally can board you on one of those platforms so that you can keep your merchant services provider. So good news there. Just reach out to our support team and we can help you get there.
Perfect. If you could just quickly go over, I know Terry logged on a little late and may have missed the part where you explained how to sign in remotely to the live.laundrycard.com.
Yeah, so the best thing that the best way to handle that that question, I think, is without starting over again,
yes,
is just to keep in mind that there have been various versions of software. So first of all, Terry, I would say is that if you got in late, you can go, we're going to send you a copy of this recording and you can go back and watch how to log in. But if you're on the latest version 9, you just go to live.laundrycard.com and then you enter in your credentials. And then we talked about this earlier too, that if you don't have credentials there, you can contact our support team and they will help you get credentials set up for your system. If you're not on version 9, live.laundrycard.com is not available to you. And so there are different remote access options available for previous version 8, version 7 versions prior to that. And again, you'll need to contact our support team and they can forward you documentation on how to remotely access your system. It was just in version 9 that we added this very simple remote access method, which is the live.laundrycard.com website.
All right. Next question is, what is necessary to change from a static IP to a dynamic IP address for the new software version?
Yeah, so first of all, it is not required. So if you happen to already have a static IP and you go to version 9, you do not have to go to a dynamic. But if it's maybe it's price advantageous from your ISP, maybe it's cheaper to have a dynamic address, you certainly can go ahead to the motions to do that. It's probably a bit more technical than we can tackle in this webinar, but I can tell you our support team is capable of helping you with that. There is going to be some reconfiguration of obviously some hardware that is accessing your remote access in the store. And so there are some steps that our support team will work with you on. So if you have a support contract and you call into our support line and let them know that you want to make that change, they'll give you some sequential advice, of changing over to that. The hard part about that is there may be some hardware changes that need to happen on the hardware that is not CCI owned, so it may be something that your ISP has provided, and our team is not likely going to know all of the specific nuances to whatever internet provided hardware you have. So if you are interested in making that adjustment, it may be a coordination between our support team and maybe a local support technician if you're not technically savvy with that, and make that happen. But we can absolutely help you switch off of off of static and onto a dynamic address.
Perfect. This next one might need a little clarification, but I'll read it to you. How can we take away balance from a card? We use one card for wash and fold and charge the credit card to that. How do we take out that money?
Okay. So if I understand, again, please, if there's clarification to that and we don't answer this right, just re-ask the question. But I think what may be happening is that you're using the system to accept credit card payments for a wash and fold, and so you have a card that is building in value. So you've got a singular card that you might be using, and you're adding value to that card through the exchanger. And so now you may have a card with hundreds or even thousands of dollars of value on it. How do you get that off? And so Andrew earlier also reviewed the card search feature. And he's bringing it up here again. And so the card's going to have a number on it. So by using the search, you basically search for that card number, and you could pick any card here. Yeah. And then you'll notice that once you bring up the details of that card, the balance will be visible. So Andrew's pulling up a card. And you'll notice right there on the right column, balance information. So if that happened to be $500 because you've been using that card in that way, you can go in there and just type in 0 and then click save. And then that will zero out those funds. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, that was the correct scenario he was asking about. And that is the last question that I have saved. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to ask? If not, we can kind of close it out. And again, our support team is always available.
Yeah, we'll give people just maybe another few seconds to see if they want to ask any more questions. I'll just kind of finish up by just making sure that that you are aware that we're going to continue these training sessions. We're going to go into more specifics about marketing and maybe employee management, and we want to hear from you as well about the things that you would like us to cover in future training sessions. And so we're hopeful that that you'll fill out the survey that we'll send. We'll go from there. Hope I see a question came up about a recording.
Yep, just question about the recording. Oops, I think we do have another one. Can you designate access to readers by attendant only? Example, the bathrooms.
Yes. So yes, you can absolutely do that. So if we have a system, Andrew kind of touched on it, at least he showed it briefly in our equipment setup screen, that you can configure doors to be controlled by card readers. And so one of the things that you can do is and most commonly place to do this is bathrooms. And so that you don't have to manage a key, you can set permissions for doors. And so you can say that only attendant or higher. So we have a hierarchy of kind of employee, as attendant, technician, collector, and manager. Those are all hierarchical statuses. And so you can configure a door so that it only allows certain access in. So you have to be a customer or higher, or an employee or higher, and we can, our support staff can help walk you through that. Yeah, there's the equipment type there that Andrew's showing you. There's even ways of controlling manager only access as well. So if you have like a secure room that you have supplies in, you don't want the attendants in there, but you want your collector to have access to that, you can also set the access to that as well.
Yeah, and to find that information, you just click on the question mark here, and it will show you what number to set this to. So you'll see 100 plus secure machine, and you can see we can name this. If we want the manager only to access this door, we can change the machine type to 105. And now that equipment type will only be able to be opened or started with a manager card.
Yep, perfect.
All right, I think that's all the questions that we have.
Awesome.
So I'll have Andrew pull that up. There we go. And we just want to thank everybody for joining us today. We hope that you found the information valuable and will give us some feedback on things that you want to learn more about in future training sessions. And of course, like we said before, you'll get a copy of the recording of today's training. You'll get a copy of the slide decks, and there'll also be some step-by-step training links along with those. We'll be sending a follow-up email with all of that, and of course, take the survey to give us some feedback. Any additional questions you have that we didn't go over today, or you need to reach out, please touch base with our support team and look for emails in the future on more training sessions.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. So long, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.